Are these the worst Disney guests? There was a recent article that named the top 10 worst Disney guests. Are you one of these people? All right, so there was an article written that says these are the worst Disney guests. And I was like, you know what? Let's go through these because I don't know if I necessarily would agree with all these, but I was going through them and I agreed with quite a bit.
I'm afraid that I'm going to make it on this list for some reason.
You might actually make it on this list, but here's the deal. We're going to go through these, and then in each one of these, we'll say, you know what? Do we agree, disagree, and why we agree or disagree on these?
Okay.
Are you ready, Constantina?
Yes.
It says the first one, it says the worst Disney guests, the ones whose vacation cost a lot. These people are the ones that talk about how much it costs to go to Disney nonstop while they're at Disney.
Gotcha. So they kind of miserable because they feel like they're overspending, or they just want to make their family members, maybe it's a way for them to kind of go around the fact that maybe they should appreciate where they are a little bit more. Like, look, it's costing a lot of money, kids. Is it that?
I think it's more, it costs so much money to go to Disney. I paid so much. But listen, newsflash, it costs money to go. It costs a lot of money to go everywhere.
We just went bowling the other day, and it cost us a fortune for just a family of 5. What was it, like an hour? It was
an hour and a half. And I always, you know what's funny? I always kind of bring back, no matter what the cost is of anything I do.
Yeah.
I always relate that to what it would cost to go to Universal or Disney.
Right?
It's like, we should go to North Conway, which is kind of the New Hampshire version of a North vacation where people go to ski where us. And every time we calculate it, we always go back to, you know what? We could just go to Universal for a weekend.
And palm trees.
And be warm.
Right.
So everything costs a lot. So I don't know if I agree with that one when it comes to, like, are they the worst? Because I feel like a lot of people complain, especially where Disney was taking things away and it being more expensive. So everybody would be in that category.
I think I heard my dad say that maybe once. This vacation costs a lot. Quit arguing with your cousin kind of thing.
Maybe he was one of those people then. All right, here's the next one. The flashers.
Oh, okay.
The kind that take video that's really bright or flash photography on dark rides.
Okay.
Now, I agree with this. This may be my biggest pet peeve. We went on one time on Pirates of the Caribbean, and there was a lady in front of us. She had her light on to video on her iPhone the whole time.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
How oblivious can you be to go on there? It's okay if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake.
Or if you're like a young kid who's traveling with their parents who might not speak the greatest English, and they didn't understand that you're not supposed to use flash photography. That's how I got all of my pictures
Hold on a
when
second.
I was little.
Manners
Yeah.
transcends language.
No, not when you're in Disney.
So just because you don't speak any specific language doesn't mean you can't have good manners.
I have way too many pictures of myself inside. Not myself, actually. It's of the audio animatronics inside.
With light flash on?
Oh, yeah. In Spaceship.
So you're one of these people.
Spaceship Earth. Oh, definitely.
Oh, so far you're the worst Disney guest.
But to be fair, I was 9. I didn't know better. And I guess my parents didn't either. I don't know what happened there.
All right, the next one on this list says the line jumpers. And these are the people who wait in line with one person till you get all the way up front. And then all of a sudden, a dozen of their family members come in and jump the line. I totally agree with that. I put on our Facebook page the other day, good morning to everybody except for those who save the line for their 10 family members.
One person, 2, I get it. Sometimes you have an emergency or something happening and you don't necessarily want to get out of line, especially if you're waiting for something like Ratatouille where you get in line and it says 30 minutes and then it suddenly becomes 70. But come on, let's be fair here and not bring 9 others into line with you. That's just not right.
All right, here's where it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay if you have young kids.
Right.
And maybe they can't wait in line, but there's the DAS pass for that, where you can, if you have certain circumstances and your kid can't wait in line, Disney allows for that. Or if you have young kids and maybe one of them has to go to the bathroom, like you said, I mean, and it's the parent and maybe 1 or 2 kids.
Yeah.
Where it gets out of line is when it's like you are specifically trying to cheat the system and other people.
Right.
I think that's who are the worst Disney people. Like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, my family's up there. I missed the line. They went ahead of me. No problem. Go.
Yeah.
When you specifically are sitting 15 people over to the side and one person's waiting in line and you know you're doing it for a specific reason, you are the worst Disney person.
Cast members, though, are really great about keeping an eye out for this. I think that they are, and they're even getting better about it. I don't notice it as much as I used to in the past, so that's good. And I know that when you're traveling with a large group, for an example, if we go with our cousins and family members, a group of 5 suddenly turns into 12, and you kind of have to know your surroundings. You have to be respectable to the families that are 2, 3, 4 people and let them go ahead of you. That's fine to do. Don't expect, I know that happens because not all of us are fast walkers. So I always get trailed behind, and I always feel bad if I have to kind of weave through and get to meet the rest of my family. So you guys have done a really good job about waiting until
let other people go ahead of you. Don't get in line knowing you have family members that aren't with you.
You're all going to get in the same queue on Guardians. It's the same queue.
Right.
You're going to be grouped together. Newsflash here.
Same with Haunted Mansion. Just wait a little bit. You're gonna go in this. You're gonna get on the ride.
Yeah.
You may even want to stay back a couple seconds to get to see the inside without a crowd of people in there. All right, next one. The ones who don't want to be there. Now, this is a tough one. I don't know if this is necessarily. I think this may be a good person to go to the parks with, either Universal or Disney, because they're taking one for the team.
Well, it says here the ones who don't want to be there, but they want everyone to know they want. So is that the big grump in the group?
Or maybe it's the one that says the shirt that says "I don't want to be here."
Literally on their shirt, everywhere it's plastered that they're miserable the whole time.
Or maybe it's the ones that people like, the ones that think they're too cool to be there.
Yeah, who are those people?
I don't know. They're not listening to this podcast, that's for sure.
True.
But I don't like those people in life or at Disney or Universal. So I agree with that. They're pretty apparent. And it's like, you know what? You're going, especially if you're going to Disney for your significant other or for your kids, just suck it up and put a smile on your face and have a good time.
Honestly, I talk about this a lot offline, but it's the fact is I had the best vacations growing up, not because I was having fun going on the rides, although that was a major bonus. It was literally seeing my family members have a good time, and people that I thought did not want to be in Disney finally had let loose and had so much fun. And that's what I remember the most. Like my uncle screaming on one of the attractions. Like that's just, to me, it's something that stuck with me forever.
All right, next one says pass holes. Annual pass holders who go there and try to flaunt everything. Now, listen, I don't agree with this at all.
Okay.
Pass holders, that's why you get an annual pass, is to go there and hang out. Now, you don't have to flaunt the fact that you have an annual pass or look down on anybody, but, when you have an annual pass, the point is to be able to go as many times as you want and just hang out because that's what you like to do.
Right. I don't know if I agree with that either. I think that if we could become pass holders, we would be.
Oh, as soon as Disney World allows annual passes again, I'm in.
We're in.
The next one, it says, the ones who have never walked in public. Now, I agree with this one.
What does that mean?
It means when you walk at the mall, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the mall, for the most part, people walk in a mall like they drive on the streets. It's like you walk one way altogether, and then everybody walking the other way on the opposite side of the mall corridor.
Okay.
Do that in Disney.
It's hard. It's hard because Disney's meant to wander. I know it's difficult with crowds, but you really, in order to experience everything, you really want to be in the moment and look around. So it's hard to walk in one straight line and one straight path. To me, that's where you're going to lose a lot of the magic. And I don't agree with that. I do think that if you're set on getting to an X destination, whether it's a reservation or a specific time that you have to be back at an attraction, I think maybe what this is talking about is definitely true. Or what I like to do is do a train system with my family.
Yeah, that's better.
Where we all kind of hold on to each other's backs so that we know we're together, but we're not necessarily walking side by side and taking up all that space.
Or if you are a slow walker, move over to the side. You know you're a slow walker. If you see everybody whizzing past you, guess what? You're the slow walker.
I'm sorry.
Just move over to the side, and it's fine to walk kind of slowly at that point. And
somebody did get annoyed with me in Epcot recently.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am one of those people that are just exceptionally slow at walking. I don't know what happens to me. I blame
Just move over to the side. It's fine to be a slow walker. Just move over to the side.
That's true.
The other pet peeve of mine is 2 double-wide strollers walking side by side. Listen, a double-wide stroller is bad enough. But when you get 2 of them side by side, come on. You say go in a single file. Save some room for the other people there.
Says the man that had to push the one that was back-to-back stroller, and you literally broke the wheels. It was so hard to maneuver that one.
I was respectful, though. It was a thin, narrow double stroller.
It was hard to turn.
Next one, party animals. I think this is referring to food and wine at Epcot, where it's become a party atmosphere, which I don't like. I don't think they're the worst people. I don't agree with them being the worst Disney people or Universal people, but I just think that there's a time and a place to let your party animal out, and a Disney vacation where it's a family environment is probably not the place for that.
I think there's an exception to this rule. Like, I agree. I don't think it's the worst people. I think you should have fun. And I think it's, especially Epcot, a super fun place to have your bachelorette party and just let loose and have, a lot of people do the drink around the world. It's fun, but you have to know your limits and not become so belligerent around others. That
Yeah, and also be aware of your surroundings. You're not at the nightclub. You're at Disney, where there's a lot of little kids around you observing what people do.
True.
And they're in the little kids are in that environment to be entrenched in the Disney bubble. And when you're a person who's way too intoxicated, you ruin that for them. Don't be the person that ruins it for a little kid.
Yeah. Just know your limits. Like, whatever you can handle at home is probably what, maybe tone it down in the parks, because don't forget, you're dealing with large crowds. Heat exhaustion's a real thing out there. And so you have to kind of know that maybe your liquor won't be handled as well as where you're from originally.
Right.
Okay.
Next one. This is one that a lot of people said too in our inside of Club UTM, which is our private community, that we put some polls in there and talk about some certain things on like this.
Yeah.
It says parents of shoulder kids. Like parents, like when there's the fireworks going off, they put their kids on their shoulders.
Oh, whoops.
And as a parent with little kids, it's hard not to do that so that they can see.
Yeah.
You got to look at it from the kid's perspective. They're 3 feet tall.
I know.
Everybody else is taller around them, and everybody else is holding their cell phones up. Not only are they taller than everybody, but they have these cell phones held up above it. So you have to give them a little bit of a break and say, you know what, the kid's got to see. If anybody should see, the kid should see, not your vlog.
That's some truth happening right there. Yeah.
Like,
I think that I totally agree with this on the lot way. I think there's ways to put your child over your shoulder, to put them first, but also be respectful of those around you. There is like spots, especially on Main Street USA, that we've done it. There's areas where you can kind of have something blocking behind you anyways.
Or just like your slow walkers, just move to the side.
Right. But yeah, there's just certain things you shouldn't do. And,
Again.
Yeah.
Not a bad person.
No.
Just be respectful with it. If you are going to put your kids on your shoulders, just make sure that there's no other people behind you that can't see, or maybe offer that spot to them.
Right.
Say, hey, listen, I'm going to put my daughter on my shoulders. Do you mind? You want to scoot in front of me so that way you can see.
Everybody just needs to be on their best behavior. Just pretend it's everyone's birthday, even the people you don't know, and you're going to have the most fabulous vacation.
Now, this one gets on my nerves.
Oh, gosh. What's that?
The parents who have the meltdown, not the kids.
The parents who have the meltdown.
Because when you're a parent, it's 100% in your control, the kid's meltdown. The kid's meltdown usually happens because they're overstimulated or tired, and you've pushed them beyond their limits. And as parents, that's in our control.
Okay, yeah.
So
I mean, there's been moments where I didn't know that our youngest would be pushed to the limits because I failed to recognize the fact that it was a long day. She probably didn't sleep good the night before. Maybe not the healthiest options for food. So all those triggers built up where I expected her to be fine, but not realizing, like, you're not at home. You're not doing your normal routine. So yes, I see kind of.
Understandable. Just don't yell at them in public.
Yeah.
Right?
Use your soft voice.
Is
I
there
think
anything
that's more effective?
Is there anything more awkward than seeing parents yell at their significant other or kids in the parks?
I'm not going to lie and say that I've never done it. I think that everyone has, even adults have their limits. And again, that Florida heat, the humidity, the overstimulation, and that's a lot of those factors can kind of bring out the worst in you if you're not planning accordingly. So if you're planning to take breaks and listen to our regular podcast where we talk about how to really enjoy your visit strategically, whether you get to do a lot, but in a way where you're not so overwhelmed, I think that you could avoid the situation, but it does happen. I mean, it happens.
Don't let it happen.
Okay, do it for a sec.
Don't let it happen. Pretend it's your kid's birthday. You would never do that to your kid on their birthday.
Sure.
You would let them just have a meltdown and be like, listen, my kid's having a meltdown, not much I can do about it. Serenity now.
Okay.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is another one that gets on my nerves because as a person who has worked in customer service and in the hospitality business, people who feel entitled or have never worked a day of customer service in their life and then are rude to cast members or other people around them, I have no time for.
Cast members are truly angels and saints. I think that they have just an exceptional aura. Their just willingness to help is amazing, dealing with all different types of personalities. But I agree with you. I think that when someone hasn't worked into customer service, they just kind of tend to forget. And look, we've all been there where we have a moment of weakness where we may have eye rolled or done something that was regrettable, but you have to kind of put it into perspective and what you're dealing with here.
Yeah, and just remember, you are one person. If they make a mistake on your meal, it happened to you one time. I'm sure that cast member has had to deal with that hundreds, if not thousands of times before.
Yeah.
So you being rude and a jerk doesn't help the situation.
That's right.
It only makes people not want to help you. But when you're nice and you come at it with empathy for the other person, then it makes it way easier to deal with.
Word of the show, empathy. Yeah.
I've had issues at Disney. We've all had issues with Disney. And when you come at it in a nice way, they are much more than helpful.
Again, you're out of your element. It's hot sometimes.
Whoa, I'm in my element there.
Oh, you're in your element. You're home.
I'm out of my element here.
Yeah, that's true. I think sometimes things can come out that you're not proud of. No one's perfect. We've all done that, but you have to find that humility and try to at least apologize and recognize when you're being a little bit out of line. But like you said, everything is figure outable, and it's all about the approach of the situation. I think that shows a good example for your family, your kids, whoever you're with. No one wants to be with that person that's complaining like that anyway. I know that it's super embarrassing. So hopefully you have somebody in your team that can look out for you that will help you avoid that kind of situation.
And we all judge you in line.
Oh,
if you're that person, we're all behind you judging you.
Okay, fine.
I'm being honest here.
All right.
I'm not being honest with you.
All right.
So I'm going to name my top two of this list.
Unlocking after hours.
I'm going to name my top two. The two worst kind of theme park people are, to me,
okay,
the meltdown parents who yell at their kids when they know that their kids are tired. And it generally happens when you have your kid go at rope drop and it's 10 o'clock at night and you're trying to have them be alert and not cranky. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a long day. And then the people who are rude to cast members who have never worked in customer service, and the littlest thing they make this big giant deal about when it could be solved by just being nice.
Yeah.
Two worst kind of people.
I think just don't do that, and I think you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And the cast members and everyone's going to be willing to support you. So
remember,
yeah,
the theme of the show, pretend it's everybody's birthday. If everybody pretended it was everybody's birthday and had low expectations, there would be no cranky people at Disney at all.
Be exhausting.
Or Universal.
It'd be exhausting.
It would be exhausting. That's why it's, you can't do it all the time. It's only a certain number of days a year you can do it. All right, what's your worst kind of Disney people? What is your biggest pet peeve when you go to Disney or Universal? We want to hear it in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And you can like if you want, but just watching the video, getting to this point is the most important thing. So thank you for that.